Howdy folks, this is the PC Cowboy coming at you again. You know, hang on just a second folks, there we go. See, I think there, that's a little better I think. Okay, you'll notice I ain't wearing the glasses, that's because I'm shooting from the hip. Don't need to read this. Today I'm going to talk to you about three things. I'm going to talk to you about snakes, about Muslims, and about the devil. Now, in talking about those, I'm also going to mention briefly a fourth thing that ties into it. You know, if a fella's got a house and a rattlesnake comes slithering across his floor, well, he's got two choices. He can either A, shoot a rattlesnake out of the house, and well, if he does, it's just liable to come back. B, he can decide to just go ahead and put up with having a rattlesnake in the house. Or C, he can kill that rattlesnake. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't kill just any snake. I only kill rattlesnakes, copperheads. Snakes that are dangerous, them I'll kill, but coach whip, nah, ain't gonna kill them. King snake, ain't gonna kill them, because they do a lot of good. And now, let's look at the second group, Muslims. This country was founded in 1776. One of the first problems we had was a group of terrorists called the Barbary Pirates, which actually were Muslims. They would grab American ships and hold the cargo and crew for ransom. Well, now for a while we paid that ransom. But finally, somebody got smart. I believe if I remember right, it was old Tom Jeffrey, and said, you know, we need to do something about these snakes in the grass. We need to take care of them. Well, so what he done is he talked to a fella by the name of Rogers. And he and Rogers come up with an idea to form a special military unit. And this Rogers fella, well, he went down to the tavern there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, known as Tun Tavern. That's T-U-N Tavern. He walks in there and had a wad of money. He said, boys, tell you what, I'm gonna buy a round for every man in the house. Well, they all cheered him. He bought a round, they all drank him down. He said, you know, I'm feeling so good, I think I'll just buy y'all another round. And they cheered again. And he bought them all another round. He said, now boys, today I was talking to the Congress, and they told me to come down and start a military unit to be known as the United States Marine Corps. Now, I'm going to buy another round, but this time I'm only buying for the guys that'll sign up with the Marine Corps. Well, you know what? Most of them boys feeling pretty good right about then, so they signed that piece of paper. Their first job was to mount up on ships, merchant ships, and travel with them merchants. And then when the Muslims jumped the ship and tried to take it over, well, them Marines, they took on the Muslims. Now, some of y'all may not know this, but the Marine Corps are called leathernecks. And the reason for that is because they used to, on their uniform, they had this big leather piece around their neck to protect them from sword attacks to the neck. Because the Muzzies like to behead people. For those of y'all who don't know what that means, beheading means they chop your head off. Well, now the Muzzies couldn't chop through them leather deals that the boys was wearing on their necks. So they wound up, a lot of Muzzies died because of that. You know, a lot of people say that when Barack Insane Hussein Obama said that Muslims were woven into the very fabric of this country, a lot of people call him a liar. I don't. Because you see, Thomas Jefferson read the Koran cover to cover and realized just what an evil thing we were up against. And that's why he got the Marine Corps going. Now, to me, that says they were in the fabric, because without them, we probably wouldn't have the United States Marine Corps. And for those of you who don't know, that flag over my shoulder, partly it's the Marine Corps that's responsible for that flag. Of course, now I know there's some other branches of the service out there. You got your Coast Guard, you got your Navy, you got your Air Force, and you got your Army. Now, the Air Force, they're just a sub-branch of the Army, because before there was airplanes, there was the Army. The Air Force originally was just a part of the Army. It was originally called the Army Air Corps. The Coast Guard, now they're primarily responsible for keeping our coastlines safe. You know, they're basically the last-ditch effort to keep this country safe. And then you got the Navy. Well, you know, a lot of them Navy fellas are quick to point out that across the top of the Marine Corps seal, it says Department of the Navy. Well, now there's two ways of looking at that, fellas and gals out there. Number one, across the top of the taxi cab, it says taxi. Navy's just a taxi for the Marine Corps. Now, number two thing here about that is this. I will admit, grudgingly, that the United States Marine Corps is a department of the Navy. Folks, make no mistake about it. The Marine Corps is the men's department. Now, let's see, I've covered the Muslims. I've covered the snakes. And now I'm going to get down to covering Satan. A lot of folks, well, C.S. Lewis said there are two equal and opposite errors into which we can fall regarding Satan and demons. One is to ignore their existence. The other is to have an unhealthy interest in them. Well, now the first of those errors, the totally ignoring them, there's a lot of folks nowadays that do that. But let me tell you something, folks. If you don't believe in the devil and in his power, then you're throwing out a lot of what the Bible says. And I don't know, most of y'all probably know by now that my stand is the Bible is the ultimate authority in all matters. And if y'all don't believe the Bible from cover to cover, from in the beginning to amen, well, y'all probably gonna find that you're gonna disagree with a lot of what I say. But I'll tell you something, folks. The Bible is true from Genesis to Revelation. And those of you that don't believe that, you're in for a rude awakening in the very near future, because one of these days, and it won't be long, the Lord's going to be coming back for his church. And a preacher friend of mine says something quite frequently that I fully agree with. Well, he says a lot of things I agree with and a few things I don't. But one of the things he says that I do agree with is that the best attended church is going to be the Sunday after the rapture. It's going to be interesting to find out how that goes. There's a song I want to recommend to y'all. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Tomorrow's News. It's by a couple of British boys named Malcolm and Alwyn. A-L-L-W-Y-N, I believe is how he spells it. Anyhow, y'all need to hear that song. But, getting back to the devil. The devil's kind of like that rattlesnake I talked about in the beginning. So see, we're going to tie this right back into the start. People let a little bit of the devil in and think, oh, ain't that cute? And look at that. But you know what? When you let the devil in a little bit, he moves in more and more and more and more. Kind of like the Central American Invasion Army that's headed our way. Well, folks, when we heard a bunch of these Central Americans are coming up here and trying to take our country over, we got a bunch of folks going down there to the border to stop it. I want to know how many of y'all are ready to stand the borderline against the devil. Y'all have to excuse my neighbor. I don't think he realizes that I'm trying to do a video here. I think you can hear over it. I hope so. Anyway, the devil is kind of like that invading army. We as Christians need to be ready to stand and defend our territory against the devil. Just like we as patriots need to stand to defend our southern border against the invader. You know, Trump's got this plan to build a tent city. Well, now, I don't approve of that plan. My plan calls for putting about, probably 10 or 20 AH-61 Apache helicopters on that border. Have them go up and down, and if the invaders stay south of the Rio Grande and south of the rest of the border, the Apaches just fly. But the first time one of them sets foot on American soil or fires on one of those Apache helicopters, then I say we go in and level the whole lot of them. And see, that's what we need to do with the devil. We don't need to give the devil an inch. Today is October 31st. Now, some of y'all are running around like a bunch of idiots saying, Happy Halloween! Well, let me tell you something. There is nothing happy about a satanic holiday. And now, some of y'all may think I've gone to meddling, but I'll tell you something. If you're going to a church that has a party on Halloween, you might as well just go out and build you a bonfire and worship the devil direct. Folks, Halloween is not a laughing matter. I've studied a lot about a lot of things. I know a lot about the various cults. I know a lot about the occult. And I'll tell you something, folks. It is real. It has real power. And the devil wants your soul. And he wants your kids. And the way he gets them is by you turning your back on the little things. A lot of these video games and stuff, here's something I hadn't planned on getting into. A lot of these video games and stuff have themes about magic. And spell casting. And such as that. Those things are inspired straight from the pits of hell. And I tell you something. If you think it's okay to play with that kind of stuff, you might want to unfriend me. Because you'll find out that I don't play when it comes to that. I am a very serious spiritual warrior. And yes, I'll admit I'm not perfect. I don't know anybody yet who is. And if you think you're perfect, get off my mailing list, get off my contact list, because if you think you're perfect, son, you're going to be bringing all kinds of stuff down on yourself. And I don't want to be there. Now, for the rest of you, maybe you hadn't been taught about spiritual warfare. And if you hadn't, that ain't your fault. But I tell you what, now that you know, I don't want to see any of you wishing me a happy Halloween. Because if you do, I'm gonna rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. Let's see here. Okay, I'll probably ticked off. Oh, I forgot one last thing. You know, the Democrats, they want to open our border, have open borders. Everybody, come on in. Well, let me tell you something. When you open your borders and you ain't sure what's coming, it's kind of like Christians opening their doors to the devil. Those folks that are coming out here are not coming here to better themselves. They sure as heck ain't coming here to better y'all. And the Muslims that are coming here and trying to run for office, they're not doing it because they love this country. They're doing it because they love Allah. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have seen any Sanskrit, but the name Allah in Sanskrit looks a whole lot like a slithering snake to me. Think about that for a minute, folks. And while you think about that, let me give you something else to think on. Genesis chapter 3, verse 15 is the first reference to the Messiah, where it talks about that Satan, that the seed of the woman will bruise his head, and he will bruise its heel. Satan will bruise its heel. Well, you see what he was talking about there? Jesus died on the cross for us. And in doing so, and in rising again from the dead, Jesus defeated Satan. He bruised his head. Now, okay, I just thought of one other thing, and I'm going to close on this, I promise. I don't know how many of y'all have YouTube Red. I don't know how many of y'all remember the movie Karate Kid, the original one, not Karate Kid 2 with the girl, but the one with Danielson. Well, anyway, YouTube Red is coming out with a mini-series. Danielson is all grown up, and he and his rival from the movie, from the original one, wind up, well, he's working at this place. He's working at, I believe it's a car dealership. And the other guy comes to work at the dealership. And when one of the other car salesmen, realizes that this guy that's just coming in is the guy that Danielson had beat, he says, "Hey, you're the guy that he kicked your ass." Excuse the French, but that's what. And Daniel grinned and said, technically it was his face. Well, folks, it's time for us to go kicking some devils, not playing games with them on Halloween. Until next time, this is the PC Cowboy saying, may your horse never stumble, may your cinch never break, may your belly never grumble, and may your heart never ache. PC Cowboy, signing off.